Part 127. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1261. Chapter 1261. Why do you think I will lend you money? She said with difficulty. Zi Li, you should have seen the drop in Shen's stock price. I don't know who is behind it, and they are determined to make Shen's life difficult. The stock price continues to fall until now. Shen's family now needs funds to stabilize the situation. Shenro looked at Gong Zili's still cold eyebrows, and the rest of her words became increasingly difficult to say. So I thought you could. In the past, Shenro had absolute confidence. As long as she opens her mouth, Gong Zili will never refuse her. But now, the current Gong Zili is no longer the Gong Zili who always protected her, doted on her, and was completely obedient to her. Even if he was so kind to her before, it was because he thought she saved him. Now, he knows that she was not the one who saved him that night. What advantage does she have over him? But she couldn't help it. The only person she can think of now, the only one who still has hope, is him. If even he refused to help, she really didn't know who to go to. Zili, can you lend me some money? Shenro met Gong Zili's indifferent gaze and hesitated for a long time before finally saying this. After hearing this, Gong Zili had a calm expression on his face. Seeing him like this, Shenro's heart sank and she tightened her hands. Zili, is it okay? You helped Shen get through this difficulty, and our whole family will be grateful to you. I'm begging you. Okay. Shen really can't have a problem. If Shen has a problem, I will. Her eyes suddenly turned red. Please, I can only come to you. With Shen's strength, do you still need to beg me? Gong Zili never responded. After listening to her words again, he was silent for a long time before finally speaking. Shenro, you don't need to beg me. This is just a small problem for the Shen family. No, that's not the case. Shenro's eyes were red and she bit her lips tightly, as if she was trying desperately not to let the tears in her eyes flow out. She choked up and said, Zi Li, you don't know, the Shen family has a problem. I didn't know until some time ago that there was an economic crisis within the Shen family. My father has been hiding it from us in order not to make us worry. My mother he also wants me to marry Bai Yisheng in order to attract investment from the Bai family. But how could I marry someone I don't like? I don't like Bai Yisheng at all. When Shenro said this, she raised her eyes, wanting to see Gong Zili's reaction. But all I could see was his still cold eyes, without even a trace of fluctuation in his eyes. Shenro felt as if her heart had fallen into an ice pool, and the ice water seeped into her heart. At this moment, all she could feel was coldness. He really has no feelings for her at all? He had no reaction at all when he heard that Mrs. Shen wanted her to marry Bai Yisheng. Shenro originally thought that no matter what, Gong Zili still had some feelings for her. He was once so kind to her. She doesn't believe those good things, they are all fake. She didn't believe it even more. With her charm, Miyazawali would not have any feelings for her at all. So, Gong Zili waited for her to finish speaking and looked at her calmly. Why do you think I will lend you money? If something goes wrong with Ms. Shen, what does it have to do with me? Shenro, if you come here, I'm here to borrow money, so you can go. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1262. Chapter 1262. Have you found a girl? Zeli Shenro opened her eyes wide, with a look of disbelief in her eyes, as if she didn't believe that a man would say such heartless words. I really need your help. I know you are still thinking about it. Before I was angry about that, but I really didn't mean it at the time. Shenro burst into tears and said pitifully, we had a quarrel at that time. When you opened your eyes and looked at me with such grateful eyes, I I was confused for a moment, so I lied to you. I didn't think at the time so much, I just want to reconcile with you as soon as possible. If I let you know that I was the one who saved you, you would definitely not be angry with me again. Zi Li, I just don't want you to continue to be angry with me, I really. Are you done? Gong Zili interrupted her coldly. Shenro, I. Shenro, you know best what you were thinking back then. It was a good thing she didn't mention this matter, but when she mentioned it, Gong Zili thought that she had been deceived by her for 10 years like a fool. He said with a gloomy expression, even if you were confused at the time, you would still have many opportunities to tell the truth afterwards. But you didn't. You chose to conceal and deceive. In the past 10 years, I have been played by you like a fool. Zili, it's not. Shen's problem is too big, I can't help. Gong Zili turned his eyes away, not looking at her again, and said in a cold voice, if you came to me for this matter, you can leave. After he finished speaking, he called a subordinate in, and his words had the meaning of expelling guests, send Miss Shen away. The man glanced at Shenro, Miss Shen. Zi Li, do you really want to be so heartless? Shenro burst into tears, I really need your help now. If you don't even want to help me, our Shen family will really, it's really over. Even if I lied to you, but we have known each other for so many years, do you really have no feelings for me at all? You once said you would marry me and treat me well for the rest of your life. Just because I was not the one who saved you that night, these promises don't count. Gong Zili had already stood up and walked out. As he walked to the door, the tall figure stopped. Shenro, until now, do you still think you are right? His throat seemed to be covered with ice, and every word he said was filled with chill. Yes, I promise to marry you, and I promise to be good to you all my life, including all the things I have done for you over the years, all because I thought you were my savior. If I had known that the person who saved me that night was not you, I wouldn't have done so much for you. Behind him, Shenro's face turned extremely pale for a moment. Her body was shaky, as if she would fall down at any time. Her voice was crying and trembling violently, so, you have never really liked me in all these years? If it were any other girl who saved you, you would too. Are you so nice to them? Of course not. He thought the girl that night was her, so. But Gong Zili didn't want to explain so much to her. You think it is like this, then so be it. Zi Li, have you? Shenro suddenly thought of something and her eyes widened suddenly, have you found that girl? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1263. Chapter 1263. Don't have any thoughts that you shouldn't have anymore. That's why he was so indifferent to her. It must be like this. Otherwise, she had deceived him for a whole 10 years without him discovering her, so how could she now know that she had lied to him? Could it be that the girl took the initiative to find him that night and told him the truth of the matter? That may be a very beautiful girl. If she was just a mediocre-looking woman, it would be impossible for Gong Zili to do this. For a time, Shenro felt strong jealousy and anger in her heart. Who the is that bitch? Gong Zili frowned, this has nothing to do with you. Shenro's expression suddenly changed. He indeed found the girl that night. Zi Li, who is she? Shenro suddenly had an intuition that the girl might be someone she knew. This has nothing to do with you. Gong Zili's voice suddenly became cold. From a distance, Shenro could even feel the cold air radiating from his body. Shenro, I'm warning you for the last time, don't do anything again. Thoughts that shouldn't be there. Otherwise, I will not show mercy to you when the time comes. After finishing speaking, Gong Zili took steps and walked quickly out of the room. Miss Shen, let me take you out. The subordinates on the side witnessed everything and looked at Shenro's face that was so pale that there was no blood at all and her eyes that were red and swollen from crying. They couldn't help but sigh secretly in their hearts. How kind the young master was to Miss Shen in the past. He was gentle, considerate, and obedient. It hurts to put Miss Shen in the most important place in my heart. Now. Suddenly there was such a big gap, from being the most favored one to being treated like a stranger, it would be hard for anyone to accept it. However, who can blame this? The young master hates others deceiving him the most. Moreover, Miss Shen actually deceived the young master for 10 years. The young master is willing to see her, which is considered a kindness. Shenro's eyes were red as she watched Gong Zili walk out until he was completely invisible. She stood still. Miss Shen, the bodyguard frowned slightly. Have you seen that woman? Shenro suddenly turned her head and asked in a cold voice. The bodyguard was stunned for a moment. What do you mean, Miss Shen? Didn't he find the girl who really saved him that night? Have you seen her? Shenro's eyes were filled with strong hatred. Tell me, what does that girl look like and how old is she? Aren't you very beautiful? Does your young master like her very much? Do you know what her name is? The bodyguard then realized what she was asking. She looked at Shenro's ferocious look and frowned. Miss Shen, you asked the wrong person. I don't know what you are talking about. Don't say that. The bodyguard really didn't know who the girl who saved their young master was. Even if he knew, it would be impossible to tell Shenro. Do they dare to say things that the young master has not said? Moreover, looking at Shenro's appearance, she must know who she is and what she will do. Miss Shen, I'll take you away. The bodyguard made a gesture of invitation. His tone was still polite, but a little more forceful. Miss Shen, please invite me. Asterisk. Shenro had just left Gong Zili's residence when she received a call from Mrs. Shen. When she picked up the answer, she heard Mrs. Shen's crying voice, Rura, have you found the money? The company's stock price is still falling, and your father is worried. This time, Mrs. Shen is being targeted. Someone is maliciously disrupting Shen's stock market, and now the stock price has dropped more and more. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1264. Chapter 1264. Only then did she realize what she had lost. Shenro clenched her fists and remained silent. Rura, do you hear what I am saying? Mrs. Shen choked and cried, what do you think our Shen family should do? Is the Shen family really going to decline like this? I'm sorry, Mom. Shenro bit her lips and dug her nails deeply into her palms. I didn't find the money, and I don't know what to do now. Before she came, she had thought that no matter how ruthless Gong Zili was, he would not wait until death to save him. But now, she was wrong. It turns out that when men are ruthless, they are even more ruthless than women. He found the woman who saved him that night. His heart is now on that woman. Until this moment, Shenro understood what she had lost. She closed her eyes and couldn't stop her tears from flowing out. Mom, I thought he would help me. I didn't expect him to be so heartless. I want to help the Shen family, but I really have no choice now. Who did you go to find? Mrs. Shen was stunned for a moment, then quickly said, you went to find Gong Zili. Shenro bit her lip and said nothing. There were more and more tears, falling on her cheeks one by one. He refuses to help, Mrs. Shen said a little emotionally. Don't he like you? He has been chasing you for so many years, and now you ask him to help, but he actually refuses to help. It seems that you were right in not agreeing to him. This kind of person usually pretends to be affectionate and unrepentant, but at the critical moment, he turns out to be so ruthless. I knew he was unreliable, and I never thought of letting you go. Looking for him, who knows you still went. Mom, It's not what you think. Shenro opened her mouth to explain, he is not the kind of person you said. It's just that there are some misunderstandings between us. That's why he. No matter how Gongzili treats her now. Shenro didn't want Mrs. Shen to misunderstand him. No matter what the misunderstanding is, the Shen family is now in a life or death situation. If he refuses to help, it means that his feelings for you are fake. Mrs. Shen seemed to be angry, and the sound of her rapid breathing came from the mobile phone. Forget it, I've known for a long time that the Gong family is unreliable. Now I can see his true face clearly. Don't deal with such people anymore. Rura, come back now and follow me to the Mo family. The Mo family has been friends with our Shen family for decades. Now, only the Mo family may help. Only the Mo family has the ability to help the Shen family survive this difficulty. Shenro's expression suddenly changed. Are you going to ask the Mo family? There is nothing we can do about it. The Mo family is the only hope now. Your father and Mr. Mo have been close friends for decades. I think he will help our Shen family after so many years of friendship. But, the person in charge of the Mo family now is Mo Yesi. Shenro squeezed her phone tightly and said with an ugly face, even if Uncle Mo is willing to help, he may not be willing. She doesn't want to go to Mo's house. She didn't want Mo Yesi to know the current situation of the Shen family. Because once Mo Yesi knows about it, Chiao Mian will know about it too. She didn't want to embarrass herself in front of Chiao Mian. It's true that he is in power, but the old lady in the Mo family has the final say now. Old lady Mo also has a relationship with our old lady, and she is kind-hearted. She will definitely not leave our Shen family to die. Okay, don't hesitate anymore and come back quickly. No matter what, you have to give it a try. This is the Shen family's last hope. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1265. Chapter 1265. Why is my daughter not me and you? If even the Mo family is not willing to help, then our Shen family is really doomed. After hanging up the phone, Shenro clenched the phone with a pale face. After a while, she suddenly remembered someone. After hesitating for a few seconds, she opened the address book and made a call. Asterisk. The Bai family. And, Chiao Angzhen really can't be your daughter. Although I don't know what happened with the paternity test, but there must be something wrong. Although they say that family scandals should not be made public, I really don't want my aunt's family to people have been lied to. The reason why I am so sure is because Chiao Angzhen has done a paternity test. When my stepmother brought Chiao Angzhen to Chiao's house, Chiao Angzhen was already 8 years old. Chiao Angzhen didn't look much like my dad, so my dad had some doubts about her daughter, so he proposed to be a parent. Identification. Chiao Mian felt her face get hot when she talked about these things. However, she really didn't want to see the Bai family being deceived by Chiao Angzhen. Mrs. Bai and Bai Yusheng are both people she likes. One is like her brother, and the other loves her as a daughter. The paternity test showed that she and my dad are biological father and daughter. So, how could she be your daughter? And, I really didn't say that because I was jealous of her. The test result may be really wrong. Do you want to reappraise it? After Chiao Mian finished speaking, she was afraid that Mrs. Bai would not believe her, so she immediately said, Auntie, I really didn't lie to you. If Chiao Angzhen was really your daughter, I would never tell you this whether I like her or not. Words. But she. Mian Mrs. Bai saw her anxious explanation, so anxious that sweat broke out on her forehead. Lovingly and tenderly, she stretched out her hand to wipe the sweat from her forehead. Good child, don't be anxious. Auntie believes in your words. Chiao Mian was startled. Auntie, do you believe me? Yes. Mrs. Bai nodded and said softly, I believe it. Then you believe that Jiao Angzhen is not your daughter. Mrs. Bai smiled again, wiped her forehead, took her hand and said affectionately, Mian, in fact, Aunt has known for a long time. When the paternity test was done and she was identified as my daughter, you knew that I was. How are you feeling? I don't feel happy at all, I just feel very lost. At that time, I was thinking, why is my daughter not me and you? If my daughter were you, I don't know how happy I would be. If my daughter were you, then she must be the person I have met in the past few decades. The most beautiful thing. Chiao Mian listened to what Mrs. Bai said and looked at her blankly. Auntie, you have known for a long time that Jiao Angzhen is not your daughter. Yeah, Mrs. Bai nodded. I told Yisheng the results of the identification, but he didn't believe it. He asked someone to go to the hospital for a check, and it was found that someone might have tampered with the blood. Do you know what else he found out? Mrs. Bai looked at Jiao Mian intently and held her hand tightly. He found out that there was something wrong with the blood donation event you attended a few days ago. Jiao Mian opened her eyes little by little. Is there a problem with the blood donation charity event? Well, one of the organizers behind the charity event was Shenro. The blood you donated that day was sent to Rengzhen Hospital. Later, Yisheng held a birthday dinner, and Shenro came with Jiao Angzhen. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1266. Chapter 1266. Their plot failed to succeed. Mrs. Bai's voice turned cold when she said this. Yisheng didn't invite Jiao Angzhen to the dinner party, but she brought him over. And before that, they had no friendship, but that night they formed very close sisters. Everything is just for their conspiracy. I was stupid and fell into their trap. If Yisheng hadn't been smart, I would have let them succeed. Mrs. Bai became angrier and angrier as she spoke, and her face turned a little blue. At that time, the bad guys succeeded in their schemes, but her own daughter would not be able to recognize her for the rest of her life. It's simply too hateful. She raised her head and looked at Jiao Mian, her eyes becoming kind and soft again. Fortunately, their trick didn't succeed. Mian, can Auntie ask you to do me a favor? Jiao Mian couldn't come back to her senses for a long time after hearing Madame Bai's words. She felt strange when she saw Shenro and Jiao Angzhen appearing together that night. I wonder when their relationship became so good. It turned out that they were conspiring to make Jiao Angzhen pretend to be the daughter of the Bai family. Auntie, what do you want me to help you with? Jiao Mian was stunned for a while before slowly coming back to her senses. Madame Bai held her hand, hesitated for a few seconds, then looked directly into her eyes and said, Mian, Yisheng and I both suspect that the blood that was used for the paternity test with me was taken from you. Shenro, the blood donation event I planned was just to get your blood. So, actually you are my daughter. Jiao Mian also looked at Mrs. Bai, her eyes widening little by little. And, you. Listen to me. Mrs. Bai's voice softened a few degrees. There is absolutely no way that Jiao Angzhen and I are biological mother and daughter. Ever since Yisheng began to doubt her identity, I tried to find a way to collect some of her hair. Take it and do another appraisal. At this moment, the identification results will be out soon. If she really has no blood relationship with me, then the blood I went to the hospital to identify was definitely not hers. Mian, if that blood is not hers, who else could it be? When Madame Bai said this, she looked at her intently, with an undercurrent rolling in her eyes. The most likely thing is that they took it. This paternity test was done with your blood. The results of the paternity test are correct. So Jiao Mian felt Mrs. Bai's hand holding hers tighten, and her voice was filled with nervousness, if that blood is yours, you are my Zyoki. Mian, Auntie hopes to have with you take a paternity test. Can you promise my aunt? As soon as Mrs. Bai finished speaking, before Chiao Mian could reply to her, she saw a maid walking towards them. Madam, Miss Chiao, the maid said respectfully. Madam, Dr. Kai Wei said that he has done what you told him. Please come over now. Mrs. Bai's face changed slightly. She said to Chiao Mian, the identification results must have come out. Mian, can you go there with your aunt? Chiao Mian knew that Mrs. Bai was eager to find her daughter, and she didn't mind doing a paternity test. For her, it was just a piece of cake. Even though Mrs. Bai had just told her so much, she still felt that she could not be the daughter of the Bai family. She met Mrs. Bai's expectant eyes and nodded, okay, Auntie, I'll go with you. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1267. Chapter 1267. Madam, the test results are out. Asterisk. Madam, you are here. After a while, Mrs. Bai took her into a room. A tall man wearing glasses and with very three-dimensional features walked towards them. The man raised his eyes and glanced at Chiao Mian, with a hint of surprise in his eyes, and then turned his gaze to Mrs. Bai. Madam, the test results are out. What's the result? Mrs. Bai asked immediately with a nervous look on her face. The man handed a list in his hand to Mrs. Bai. Madam, take a look. Mrs. Bai reached out and took it, lowered her head and glanced around quickly. When she saw the column of identification results, her fingers tightened on the list. A few seconds later, Chiao Mian seemed to be relieved when she saw Mrs. Bai. Her shoulders relaxed, and the expression on her face was not as nervous as before. There was a hint of joy in her eyes. Great. After Mrs. Bai finished reading, she turned to look at Chiao Mian with a happy face. Yu Sheng's guess is true. She is indeed not my Zyoki. Mian, now it has been identified that Chiao Angzhen is not my daughter. So the blood identified is definitely not hers. Mian. Mrs. Bai's eyes sparkled. I brought you here just to ask Kai Wei to help us do another appraisal. You. Auntie, I am willing to cooperate with you. Before Mrs. Bai could finish speaking, Chiao Mian took the initiative and said, Auntie, just tell me what I should do. Miss Chiao, it's very simple. The man named Kai Wei smiled slightly and said warmly, I just need to draw a little blood from Miss Chiao. After hearing this, Chiao Mian nodded again, okay. She stretched out one arm directly, then let's get started. Okay, Miss Chiao, please come with me. Kai Wei took her aside to sit down and took out a brand new set of syringes from the medicine box. After Chiao Mian drew blood, she left with Mrs. Bai. The identification results will not be available until several hours later. Although the results have not yet come out, Mrs. Bai seems to have treated her like a daughter. Mian, can Auntie ask you a question? Mrs. Bai's eyes were filled with infinite love and compassion, but also with a hint of remorse and guilt. Auntie, tell me. Mian, if the identification results come out, if we are really mother and daughter. Mrs. Bai hesitated and asked cautiously, will you blame me? Are you still willing to recognize me as your mother? Auntie, you said that you had no choice but to send your daughter away. You had to do that to protect her, right? Yes. Mrs. Bai nodded, but no matter what, I failed to fulfill my duties as a mother. Because of my helpless actions, my daughter and I were separated for 19 years. She could have lived a very good life. It's me and our Bai family who owe her. Chiao Mian thought about it seriously before replying, but everything you did was because you loved her and wanted to protect her. Moreover, maybe she is living a good and happy life now, so I don't owe her anything. You have been looking for her for so many years and never gave up. This is enough to prove that you love her very much. So, if it were me, I wouldn't blame you. Mrs. Bai raised her head, her eyes suddenly turned red. Really? Mian, you really don't blame me. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1268. Chapter 1268. Did the Bai family find out something? Auntie, you have no choice but to do this. Jiao Mian comforted Mrs. Bai softly. Don't worry, I think your daughter will definitely understand. Mrs. Bai looked at her steadily and moved her lips, as if she wanted to say something. That look in her eyes seemed to say, you are my daughter. However, it seems that Jiao Mian does not think so. Her answer made Mrs. Bai feel that the burden in her heart was relieved a lot. What she fears most is that her daughter is found but refuses to recognize her. Fortunately, her daughter is sensible. Mrs. Bai now feels that God has treated her very well. Not only did she get her daughter back, but she also got such a well-behaved, sensible, considerate, and kind-hearted daughter. At this moment, she wished she could get to know Jiao Mian right away. But the identification results haven't come out yet, and even if she is sure that Jiao Mian is her daughter, there is no way she can identify her now. But fortunately, it has been confirmed that Jiao Angzhen is a fake. Thinking of Jiao Angzhen, Mrs. Bai's anger rose again. Now that it is confirmed that Jiao Angzhen is fake, it is also confirmed that this matter is also related to Shen Rou. Luckily, she thought the Shen family's daughter was good before. He actually wanted to bring her and his son together. Mrs. Bai gets very angry when she thinks about this incident now. Fortunately, her Yusheng family did not fall in love with the Shen family's daughter. She thought about how Shen Rou took her to the hospital because she was worried about her health, and she still felt touched. But now I know that everything was their conspiracy. I'm afraid that at that time, they will be planning how to impersonate her daughter. Mrs. Bai became angrier as she thought about it, and her face turned darker. Her voice turned cold and said, "This is the first time I have been deceived like a fool. Mian, let's go, I will go and tear the liar's face apart now." Asterisk. The uneasiness in Jiao Angzhen's heart is getting stronger and stronger. She always felt that something was wrong. Whether it is Mrs. Bai or Bai Yusheng, their attitudes towards her are wrong. Especially Mrs. Bai. After all, Bai Yusheng has always been suspicious of her, so he has always been very cold towards her. Mrs. Bai's attitude. Before Bai Yusheng talked to her at noon, her attitude towards her was quite acceptable. But after that, the strong uneasiness and panic made Jiao Angzhen return to the bedroom and immediately called Shen Rou. After the call was connected, Jiao Angzhen lowered her voice and said hurriedly, "Miss Shen, I wonder if the Bai family has found something." The Bai family mother and son don't seem to believe the test result. "Miss Shen, if they find out, what should I do if I'm pretending? You said that this matter is foolproof and there will be no problems, right? But I'm really worried that Bai Yusheng will find out something. If he and Mrs. Bai know that we have deceived them, they will definitely not let it go." The more Jiao Angzhen talked, the more frightened she became. Thinking about Mrs. Bai's attitude before and after, and then thinking about the look Bai Yusheng looked at her when she came back just now, her hands and feet felt instantly cold. "Miss Shen, I'm really scared." Jiao Angzhen felt a chill run down her back whenever she thought of Bai Yusheng's look. According to Bai Yusheng's character, if something is found, she will definitely not be able to eat it and walk away. By this time, Jiao Angzhen had lost her initial pride and excitement, and she was starting to get scared. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1269. Chapter 1269. My sister is really good at coaxing people. Stay still, don't show off your trap. Shenro's cold voice came over. Even if he is suspicious, he can't find anything. The blood is real, and the identification results are also real. If he, so what if I doubt it? The worst thing is to do a new paternity test. We still have Chiao Mianmian's blood, so what are you afraid of? But Chiao Angzan felt that things were not as simple as Shenro said. MRS Bai is easy to get rid of. Kabaya Sheng. If he really finds out something, can you still stay in the Bai family now? Chiao Angzan, stop being suspicious. If you do this again, even if they don't suspect you, they will think there is something wrong with you. Remember, you are now the daughter of the Bai family. Your identity has also been confirmed. Chiao Angzan's panic-stricken heart slowly calmed down after hearing Shenro's words. But she still felt scared. Since they can't find anything, why are they still so nice to that little Chiao Mian? I am the biological daughter of the Bai family, right? But whether it is MRS Bai or Bai Yasheng, they treat that little much better than me. She said through gritted teeth, I really don't know what kind of ecstasy soup that little poured into them. Chiao Mianmian's methods are much better than yours. Shenro sneered. If you had her scheming and methods, you could do this. Okay, let's not talk about her. Chiao, don't worry, I helped you get your current position smoothly, it's time for you to repay me. Chiao Angzan was startled. Miss Shen, what do you want me to do? You have been separated from the Bai family for more than 10 years, and now you are finally recognized back. Now everyone in the Bai family must be indebted to you. No matter what request you make, they will agree to you. I want you to tell MRS Bai, let her invest some money in Shen's business. Chiao Angzan, remember, I can get you to your current position, or I can get you back to your original shape. So the investment matter must be resolved today. I don't care what method you use, you must get the investment. Hang up the phone. Chiao Angzan's face looked a little ugly. She doesn't even know now whether MRS Bai and Bai Yasheng are doubting her. Shenro asked her to invest at this time. What if MRS Bai and Bai Yasheng distrust her even more because of this matter? But where is Shenro? Just when she was upset, there was a knock on the door. Chiao Angzan was startled and looked up in the direction of the door. Miss, my wife asked you to go down for dinner. A maid's voice sounded outside. Chiao Angzan calmed down, looked down at her phone, and remembered what Shenro had just said to her. Her face darkened, she took a deep breath and said, I understand, tell Mom, I'll go down right away. Asterisk. After Chiao Angzan went downstairs, she saw MRS Bai sitting in the hall. Chiao Mian sat next to MRS Bai. The two of them didn't know what they were talking about. MRS Bai smiled with her eyebrows crescent, looking very happy. She couldn't help but feel a little angry. His face turned cold, he clenched his fists and walked over. Mom, she glanced at Chiao Mian sitting next to MRS Bai with dissatisfaction, and couldn't help but said sourly, sister is really good at coaxing people. It seems that Mom likes her very much. After confirming that Chiao Angzan was a fake, MRS Bai lost even the slightest bit of gentleness towards her. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1270. Chapter 1270. You are not Zioki at all. Hearing Chiao Angzan call her mom, she frowned in disgust. Chiao Angzan was about to be coquettish and complain to her, when he lowered his head and met MRS Bai's eyes full of disgust and anger. She was stunned for a moment, and that bad feeling came out again. After being stunned for a few seconds, she shouted in a panic, Mom! Shut up! MRS Bai is a very mild-tempered person. For so many years, none of the employees of the Bai family have seen her get angry. But at this moment, she looked at Jiao Angzhen with anger in her eyes, and her face turned a little blue. Don't call me that again. What kind of daughter are you? You shameless liar, you actually want to pretend to be my Zioki. Jiao Angzhen felt as if she had been struck by lightning. Her eyes widened and her face turned pale in an instant. Mom, what are you talking about? Her eyes were full of panic. When she met Mrs. Bai's extremely cold eyes, her mind went blank for a moment and she stammered, what liar? I am your daughter. I'm not pretending. Didn't we do a paternity test? Mom has also seen the results. What happened? How could Mrs. Bai say that she was a liar and a fake? Weren't everything fine before? Why did she say that she was an imposter after less than an hour passed? Did she and Bai Yisheng really find out something? No, Shenro said just now that the blood is real and the results of the identification are also real. Even if they went to check, they wouldn't be able to find anything. So, Jiao Angzhen suddenly thought of a possibility, turned her head suddenly, and looked at Jiao Mian aside with ferocious eyes. Mrs. Bai has been staying with this little Jiao Mian just now. It must be what this little said to Madame Bai. Jiao Mian, what did you tell Mom? Jiao Angzhen was like a cat whose tail was stepped on, and her whole body exploded. You see, I have been recognized as the Bai family, and I will be completely different from you in the future. There is a big difference in status. Are you jealous of me? That's why you said bad things about me to my mother. Jiao Mian, why are you so mean? You don't want to see me well, so you want to use this method to sow discord. Mom, don't believe her. Jiao Angzhen walked to Mrs. Bai and wanted to grab Mrs. Bai's hand. No matter what she told you, it was not true. She was trying to provoke our mother and daughter. She has been there since she was a child. She is jealous that I am better than her in everything. Now that she sees that I have become the daughter of the Bai family, she is jealous. She is not willing to accept it. She cannot stand that I am better off than her. Mom, let me tell you, she is just snapped. Before Jiao Angzhen could finish her words, she was slapped by Mrs. Bai. Madame Bai turned livid with anger, pointed at her nose and cursed, "Shut up, you used despicable means to deceive me into thinking you were Xiaoqi. Now, you dare to slander Mian Mian. Mian Mian is 1,000 times better than you, 10,000 times. Does she have to be jealous of you? Until now, do you still want to treat our Bai family as fools? You contracted with Shenro and used despicable means to take Xiaoqi's blood for identification with me. I will settle this account with you." Jiao Angzhen still wanted to explain. After hearing what Mrs. Bai said, her face suddenly changed, and her eyes widened in shock and fear. Mrs. Bai was furious, her eyes filled with coldness. "I took your hair and had it re-identified. You are not Xiaoqi at all." End of this chapter.